seem very, very controversial, but why do we always have Achu, Normad, and Cameroonian talents in one sentence? Hey, what's up everybody? This is your girl Melinda Swan, airwave personality, digital creator, and entrepreneur. A few hours ago, Cameroonian comedian Ngwa took to his social media to share his dreadful experience with record label owner Achu Normad, and he pointed out some important or vital points. If you haven't read any of these posts made by both parties, I will urge you to click down below in the comments and read the post. Now back to what I was saying. When I was reading Ngwa's own post, I noticed some very important things that he said, and it kind of raised my eyebrows, and I would like to share these things with you so that we both can reason them out and see if it makes sense. So the first thing I will actually comment on from this post is the fact that we live in an era where we have really exploitative people, and this is not something new because it's been happening since the world was created, from time immemorial. But as time goes on, the exploitation rate is growing higher and higher. So I ask myself this question: why would you choose to trust a total stranger to create and manage your pages or manage pages of someone that you're really close to, without giving it a second thought or asking yourself what this person would want to gain in return, or without any concrete deal that both parties are supposed to have? Take for example, Achu Normad already has a history of bad working experiences with Renew and a couple of other people who have commented on social media. Aside that, we have already seen different cases on social media. It mustn't necessarily be Achu Normad, but we have seen several cases on social media where people come out and complain how the contract isn't favoring them. And I'm talking about a written and signed contract here, because in the case of Achu Normad and Ngwa, they had a verbal agreement. So why would you, and with all that available knowledge on social, in fact on and off social media, still decide to work with somebody or trust a total stranger, and in a worst case scenario with a verbal agreement? I don't think, I feel like at the end of the day, we are not learning. We are not learning from people's past experiences, from people's present experiences, and we keep making the same mistakes over and over again, because I cannot see myself trusting some, like, we already have several cases of people complaining about contracts, written contracts that they've had, or deals on written contracts that they've had, and it didn't end well. So why will you in this era and in this country decide to trust somebody with your talent and with your pages? That's hard-earned time, energy, and a whole lot more, creativity. Why would you just decide to trust somebody like that? Most people would look at it from an angle of, oh, okay, Ngwa was creating or has been creating comedy skits with Achu Normad's artist songs playing in the background, but that's no excuse, or that's not enough to say that, or to trust somebody to want to create a page for a loved one or a close person. We're talking about mankind here. That was not enough. And I feel like when you don't define or walk up to this person, because Achu Normad is the one who walked up to Ngwa. So when you, Ngwa, or any other person who might find themselves in such a situation, doesn't choose to define the terms and conditions which they will be working under, or it just gives the other party reason enough to exploit you, because it's like, oh, if this person is not asking for a contract, or he's not asking for the terms and conditions under which we will be working, then I feel like I can just toss this person around left and right, and that's okay. And remember that Achu Normad is a different breed of businessman. Like, Cameroon is not ready for his kind of business. Something else that struck me while I was reading Ngwa's post was the fact that he said when it came to content creation for Manka's pages, he is the one who had to take care of everything that had to do with content creation, as per producing and all of that. This is something that I'm going to share, and I believe that other creators, other content creators, because there's There's content creators and there's people who upload videos on social media. Content creation isn't just about producing skits or whatever thing it is you're creating. It has to begin with curating the content. And I'm not saying creating, I said curating the content. After you're done curating the content, you storyboard it. If necessary, you can create a script and then you produce the content. It doesn't end there. You have to make sure that you upload this content. And when you upload this content, you have to optimize this content and make sure that this content gets as much visibility as possible. So when he says something like he was the one in charge of producing the content and everything, I asked myself these questions. When you talk about producing, do you curate the content as well? Like follow every step that is necessary as a digital creator to finally come up with the end product? And then later on, when I read Achu Normad's post, he said that he helped in curating some of the content, and I'm like, aha, now this gives Achu Normad some level of authority because he actually did participate in this content creation. But now there is no legal binding entre eux deux because they haven't signed any contract and it's just off verbal agreement, which again is not enough, because how are both parties able to gain from whichever work it is they say they have been putting into Manka's page? And this has nothing to do with whether the page has been monetized or not, because these are efforts that are being put into this page for it to grow. So under normal circumstances, there's supposed to be a law or a rule or a term or condition that states that, okay, because before the page is being monetized, this is what this or this party is supposed to gain because of this work that is being inputted by both parties. That even if it's family, you are supposed to have a signed contract, because all of these reviews and all of these things we're noticing is just based off, again, the posts that both parties made on social media. This really spoils a lot for the industry because you don't know how the younger talents are going to feel when they see things like this. How sponsors who want to invest in younger talents, whether exploitative or not, would feel when they see things happening like this on social media. So again, we really need to be mindful of the things we do and try to avoid certain things from the jump. Before I go into Normad's own part of the story, I would like to applaud Ngwa for realizing that at the end of the day, he kind of made a mistake with the contract part and, you know, all of this happening, because I believe if a contract was signed from the word go, there would have been some rules that were set to, you know, handle people's attitudes and behavioral patterns and all of that. I would applaud him for mastering the courage to come on social media and explain these things. But at the end of the day, if these things are being explained, if these things are being exposed, and people are not learning, what is the point? Now, when I read Achu Normad's own post or own side of the story, I am going to be very honest. As a businessman, Achu Normad failed a whole lot because he is a record label owner and of course he owns a management company, and I feel like with these things being mentioned, he's knowledgeable enough to know that deals are not supposed to be carried on a verbal agreement or without a contract being signed and terms and conditions being properly explained. And the worst thing of all of this is that he is the one who approached Ngwa, which means that when you're approaching this person, you should already have an idea on what is happening. But he states or claims that he wanted to do it after a month. It screams exploitative, it screams exploitation. Another point that raised question marks in the air while I was reading Achu Normad's post was when he said that at a certain point, Ngwa stopped sending content that was meant to be uploaded on Manka's page. So he thought it wise to, you know, collect content from Ngwa's page and upload on Manka's page. And this rings another bad bell because you are a record label owner and I believe you have every knowledge when it comes to copyright. But what does this country know? But I'm expecting him to set an example for young people and old people that didn't really get the memo. He did very wrong to collect content from Ngwa's pages and upload on Manka's pages without asking for his permission. If everybody was following the law, I think that Ngwa had every right to sue him because he did not have the right to collect content from his TikTok social media to upload on Manka's page. And it leaves me with the question of when exactly was Ngwa asked to be an admin on that page. This was the last straw for me in all of this. When Achu Normad requested for some content to upload on Manka's page when it was her birthday, because I mean, again, you have to, you know, keep the page updated and let people know that, oh hey, today is Manka's birthday. So he asked for some content from Ngwa, and Ngwa decided to send a couple of videos where, you know, as they call it, behind the scenes videos, where Manka was having a photo shoot session. And guess what? Achu Normad takes these videos and adds a song to accompany the videos, and the artist singing that song is Achu Normad's artist. I don't know who exactly or which artist it is in particular, but this again throws me off and gets me wondering, because if Achu Normad says he's a businessman, he knows everything, he has raised people's careers from the dead, he should know again that he's being exploitative, because whether or not the page has been monetized, or let me just take for example, if the page gets monetized or if the page were monetized, the revenue made from that particular video is going to go into Achu Normad's coffers, because they are using a song which is not Manka's song, Ngwa's song, but it's a song that belongs to an artist under Achu Normad or under Akumba Music. So why will you have this knowledge and still decide to add a song that belongs to your record label behind that video? And he comes up with the excuse of, okay, because Ngwa complained about it, he decided to give him 50,000 francs. Again, how are you able to depict that 50,000 francs is the amount that should be paid to Ngwa? And if in all this time Ngwa didn't ask himself questions or be like, oh hey, Achu Normad said we were going to sign a contract after a month, and it's been what, how many months later, and the contract hasn't been signed yet. It's when you see and you notice that some problems are beginning to spur up, that's when you deem it necessary to request to be made an admin of the page and not to sign the contract. How wouldn't you give Achu Normad reasons to exploit you in the process? It's just a whole lot that we are supposed to be learning, and I want to call on everybody's attention that these things don't expose themselves for us to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. It should serve rather as an eye-opener that we need to be very mindful of the deals we have with people. And before I sign off, I am going to send a little message to Achu Normad. Well, I've been sending messages already, but what I'm trying to say is, it's true, we cannot take away the fact that he has greatly contributed to the growth of artists in this industry. I'll take for example Renew, Elisha K, and he's coming up with different talents that we are yet to see. It doesn't make sense that all the time when there's a problem you have to belittle people's talents, you have to belittle people's creativity, and remind people all the time that if it weren't for you, this person wouldn't have been what the person is today and all of that. At the end of the day, all glory should go to God. But yes, I get that, you know, people actually know that if both parties did not come together to make it happen, it wouldn't have happened. So Achu Normad needs the talent, and the talent needs Achu Normad. It shouldn't just be about you, because at the end of the day, it kind of screams insecurity. He's been sounding, oh, without him there is no Renew, without. And then he said again, before he started working with Ngwa, he wasn't big, or he wasn't known, or he wasn't. What's the point? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let's actually have a conversation, and I will be seeing you guys in the next video.